You need some room down?
No, I think I'm fine. I'm not stupid back.
Well, I guess it's close enough. I don't think so. I'm going to talk to you about that. But.
Would you like the one?
I do not need one.
I usually have a pretty loud voice too, so I'm good.
Can you guys hear these folks okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. And first off, I want to congratulate everyone for officially becoming camera ready. And it's a wonderful thing. It was a great turnout, and we're thrilled. And just some general housekeeping to get out of the way. As you can probably see over here, this event is being filmed. So if anyone doesn't want to be on camera, I guess let me know. But it's going to be streamed on YouTube or one of those channels later on, so the folks who couldn't make it can see the seminar. So this is, I'm Craig Dominey. I think I met everybody here real quick and all that craziness over there. So, I'm the Camera Ready Program Manager, and today we signed on 73 counties to be in the program. So if you add that to the 16 that were brought online in October, I think we've got well over half the state covered at this point. So to my knowledge, I think we're the only program of its scope, at least, in the United States. It's already been a very helpful program, especially for me. As some of you probably know, my office is pretty small. We only got 4 people working in there. We've got 159 counties to cover. So your help is really going to be crucial to us as production keeps picking up, we hope, for years to come. What I'd like to do with this seminar is sort of I guess an introductory seminar just to get you ready for the program and to sort of learn what everybody does, some of the different players in the process, and I'm going to say something and these folks are going to say something, and then I'd like to have Q&A afterwards if you'd like to ask us anything, so it's a good time to do so. The other thing that I wanted to say was Maida and Tom here are mostly going to talk about feature films and television because that's what they are primarily involved with. But I did want to also mention that, my office, we work a lot with different kinds of programming. We work with commercials, we work with industrial films, we work with still shoots, we work with a bunch of different things. So it's great to get a movie or a TV show, but some of those other kinds of projects we may be able to bring to your counties as well, and they bring economic development in their own right. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But for the sake of this seminar, we're going to mainly talk about feature films and TV. When I'm not doing camera ready, I am the senior location specialist at the film office. And what I do is, we're sort of the starting point for a lot of these projects that are thinking of shooting in Georgia. We're, as you know, part of economic development. We're trying to bring the projects to shoot in Georgia. And a big part of my job is to make a producer or a production company, studio, comfortable that they're going to be able to pull off their project in Georgia. We promote the state's assets and infrastructure and all the great things about shooting here. And of course, a very important part of that is locations. You need a location to shoot in. And the way the process usually works with me is that I get a script or I talk to somebody over the phone, and maybe Tom or Maida or someone else, and they say, Craig, we need these locations to shoot the scenes from the project, and they'll tell me, we need what did you say? It was a prison farm you mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. That's a real life location request. We've had requests, as you can imagine, for everything under the sun. Swamps, antebellum homes, small towns, big towns, farmland, mountains, beach. Just about everything. And sometimes, as many of you know, sometimes Georgia stands in for Georgia or from the south, and other times we're asked to stand in for different parts of the United States. I mean, Maida worked on a movie called The Crazies several years ago, which needed Iowa. And so they shot a lot of the Iowa scenes in Georgia, and we had to find locations that looked like Iowa farmland, which was a little bit of a challenge, but it worked out.
A little spot.
But what I wanted to get across to you is that a big part of the Camera Ready program is the location photo part of it. And I know it may seem like it's a big task to some of you, but it's really the most important part of this program. I just don't want you to walk away from here with a nice poster and then never hear from us again. It's important in the initial stages that we know what it is that you have, and that really comes through taking stock of your county and seeing what shooting locations you have that might work for our clients. And we could give a seminar about shooting location photos. That would take an entire hour or so. And maybe we'll do that down the road. But what I did want to mention is that on the Camera Ready website, we have a resource library which has information on shooting location photos. It has a document on the types of locations that we typically look for. As many of you know, we use a system called Real Scout, which is a photo database where you can upload photos. Every Camera Ready liaison in here should have access to the system. If not, let me know. But we're hoping that you, as the liaison, will sort of be the point person to start gathering the photos, and you can shoot them, or you can. Sometimes it's a good student project, or maybe you have a retired photographer in your community. I mean, there's all sorts of different ways to do it, but it's a really important thing. Without them, we aren't going to know what you have necessarily. And you can tag the locations with keywords so that the next time we're looking for a prison farm or a swamp or an Iowa cornfield or whatever it is, if you have those pictures in our database and you've tagged them with those keywords, then we're going to find them, and that's how the process really starts. I send the photos typically out to Los Angeles or somewhere else, to whoever's asking, and they respond. They say, okay, we like A, B, C, D, and E. And the next step typically is that either I or someone from my office will come out there with the client to look at the locations, or sometimes I just tell the person, if they wanted to go on their own, maybe I'll put them in touch with you to try to arrange that, or to call the property owner directly. But that's really what kind of gets the ball rolling. And so with that, I wanted to go down the line and introduce everybody really quick. I'll start with the ends. That's the way my notes are. Maida Morgan, far end here. I have no idea how long you've been location management. Do you want to say?
20 years maybe? Yeah, 20 years at least.
She does, I went on IMDb and looked at what Maida has done, and, they're mostly these little independent films like X-Men First Class and Remember the Titans, and, big budget projects. I'll just read some of these. She did the recent X-Men movie, location manager.
For Georgia.
For Georgia. Hall Pass, Due Date, The Crazies, Lemony Snicket. Some of these are for specific parts, but
right. Some of the bigger movies, I do parts of them.
We Were Soldiers, and you did Jurassic Park 3.
Mm-hmm.
Armageddon, Remember the Titans, The War, Fried Green Tomatoes, and there are others on there, but those were sort of the big ones that I pulled out. So she does big projects. I was joking about the independent film. So Maida is going to talk about location managing in a second, and but first, Tom Luse, sitting here.
Howdy.
Who you guys heard during the ceremony over there. I'm going to read his bio to you. I said, Tom Luse is just completing his work as executive producer on the feature film The Collection, and is starting production on the second season as producer on The Walking Dead. And I put a little note here. So, which was the most watched drama series in basic cable history in the 18 to 49 demo, right? Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Too correct.
Very specific there. Tom has had an extensive career in producing and production management dating back more than 2 decades and spanning 4 continents. Starting with his work on the Academy Award-winning film Glory, he continued on to many features including Drumline, Remember the Titans, Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, The Joneses, and now, is it Hachiko?
Hachiko.
Hachiko, okay, good. Tom's career has also afforded him the opportunity to produce highly acclaimed television series such as Past Life and Everwood, and many made-for-television movies including What the Deaf Man Heard, which was nominated for an Emmy, and Paris Trout, which won a DGA award. And he is delighted to be back in his home state of Georgia, where The Walking Dead is produced. That's Tom. Now Pam is our graduate of the last Camera Ready go-round, Coweta. Pam is the Visitor Center Coordinator at the Coweta County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and she was, Coweta was one of the first 16 that was recognized in October, and she's up here because she's going to tell some stories about how she's been helping companies out already. I'd like to take credit for all these movies that are coming in, but you've had how many since?
We've had 4 filmed, and we have 3 scouts now in the area.
So it's busy. So I'm going to start